Have you ever felt a subtle shift in how people react when you're near? Maybe a grandchild's hug that's not quite as enthusiastic as it used to be. It could be a surprisingly common challenge that many older adults face, one that's often unspoken. I'm Dr. Lena Vance, and with over 3 decades specialised in geriatric care, I want to shed light on age-related body odour and how it impacts your social connection. Stay with me, because I'm going to share a straightforward, doctor-recommended approach to address this concern and help you feel closer to the people you care about without any awkwardness. To help us bring you more informative content, please consider subscribing for regular updates. Let me tell you about Arthur Jenkins, an 82-year-old gentleman with a sharp mind and an even sharper sense of humour. During a consultation, he leaned in with a wry smile and told me, "Dr. Vance, I practically bathe in aftershave, but my daughter still avoids sitting next to me at dinner." He then dramatically gestured towards the window, as if hoping it would magically dispel the problem. I felt for Arthur. So I explained gently, "Arthur, the aftershave isn't really the solution. It might actually be making things a bit worse." He looked confused, so I elaborated. Masking the issue with cologne or perfume is like trying to hide a stain with a brightly coloured cloth. The underlying problem is still there, and the combination can sometimes be less than pleasant. This is a common mistake I see. People reach for the strongest scent they can find, thinking they're solving the problem, but they're often creating a more intense, clashing aroma. To truly address this, we need to understand the root causes of what some people call old person smell. It's not just about age or skipping a shower. It's about how our bodies change. Arthur, I explained, there's a real science behind this. It's rooted in 3 key shifts that happen as we age. First, changes in perspiration. When we're younger, we sweat more, which helps our bodies eliminate toxins. But after a certain age, usually around 60, sweat production decreases significantly. You might think less sweat means less odor, but it's actually the opposite. Sweat is a natural detoxifier, and when we sweat less, those toxins tend to linger on the skin, creating a breeding ground for bacteria. I remember a patient, 74-year-old Carol Davies, came to me perplexed. "Dr. Vance," she said, "I hardly sweat at all anymore, so why do I still smell?" I explained that it was precisely because she was sweating less that the issue was persisting. Another patient, 70-year-old John Peterson, once said, "When I was younger, I used to sweat buckets, and I hated it. Now I realize that it was actually helping me." He was right. Less perspiration means more buildup on the skin. The second shift involves sebum, the oily substance that keeps our skin supple. As we age, the composition of sebum changes. A compound called 2-nonenal, an oxidized fatty acid, becomes more prevalent. This compound is virtually absent in younger people and is responsible for the distinct old person smell they circumflex yours, a sharp, greasy scent. The sebum of youth is chemically different, lacking this odor-causing compound that emerges later in life. Decades of research have pointed to 2-nonenal as the main culprit. Third, there's a transformation in the oral environment. After 60, saliva production can drop by more than half. Saliva isn't just for digestion. It also balances the mouth's pH and washes away bacteria. When saliva production decreases, the mouth becomes drier, allowing bacteria to flourish, leading to stale, unpleasant breath. I recall 65-year-old Susan Miller confiding in me, "I can smell it myself when I talk, and my mouth feels like sandpaper. I'm so self-conscious that I avoid getting close to my grandchildren." Her story is not unique. Despite regular showers, perfume, and mouthwash, the odor persists because these internal changes are not being addressed. That's why cologne and other quick fixes often fail. They don't tackle the root causes. But here's the good news. There is a solution, and it's simpler than you might expect. You're just missing a few critical pieces of the puzzle. Let's talk about Brenda, a 77-year-old who loved spending time with her family, but lately she'd noticed her grandchildren seemed hesitant to sit near her. She felt embarrassed and unsure what to do. She started avoiding family gatherings, which only made her feel more isolated. Then she mentioned her problem to a friend who suggested she see me. I explained to Brenda that we needed to address those 3 key areas: perspiration, sebum, and saliva. One of the first things I recommended was something surprisingly simple: drinking plenty of warm water. Water helps flush out toxins through urine, reducing the burden on your skin. Make it a habit to sip a glass of warm water first thing in the morning. It helps kickstart your system. 72-year-old George Taylor told me, "I used to hate drinking water, but now I crave it. Plus, my grandkids say I smell better." Aim for at least 6 glasses a day. One when you wake up, one before lunch, one after, one mid-afternoon, one before dinner, and one before bed. Tea and coffee don't really count as they can be dehydrating. The second step is taking short walks in the sunshine. I often hear, "Doctor, I'm too old to exercise." But I'm not suggesting you run a marathon. A gentle 20-minute stroll in sunlight can work wonders. The sun's rays help kill odor causing bacteria on your skin, and light movement encourages the release of toxins through sweat. Try to go out before 10 a.m. or after 4 p.m. to avoid the harshest rays. 79-year-old Patricia Williams said, "At first, my legs ached, but now I look forward to my daily walk. I feel so much better, and my grandkids love joining me." The third guideline is to take a warm shower every day. I know, during the winter months this can seem daunting, but bathing is essential. It removes bacteria and pollutants from the skin. Just be sure to avoid using hot water, as it can strip away the skin's protective layer, actually intensifying odor. Aim for warm water, around 100 degrees Fahrenheit. You can also try a weekly 20-minute soak in a warm bath. This helps to dislodge dirt and debris from your pores. I've had many patients tell me that their skin feels softer and their odor has significantly decreased after adopting this practice. Now, while these 3 guidelines are important, the real key is to properly clean 3 often neglected areas during your shower. These areas account for about 90% of the odor. First, focus on the skin folds, the neck, armpits, under the breasts, the navel, groin, behind the knees, and inside the elbows. Sweat collects in these folds, creating a breeding ground for germs. Seniors often neglect these areas or wash them very gently. But that's where the odor comes from. 66-year-old David Miller told me, "I've been showering for years, but I never clean my chest and armpits the way he suggested. Now, my grandchildren hug me without hesitation, and the smell is almost gone." To properly clean these folds, scrub gently with a loofah or soft towel. Avoid vigorous rubbing, as this can irritate the skin. Second, take care of the scalp, chest, and armpits. Hair traps sweat and sebum, amplifying odor. The scalp is often ignored when washing, so give your scalp a good massage. 62-year-old Emily Harris said, "The head odor was terrible until the doctor suggested I massage my scalp while shampooing. Now, my grandchildren even give me head pats." Men's belly or chest hair also needs attention. Lather up a soap or body wash, rinse well, and pat dry. Third, concentrate on the sweating regions, such as the palms, between the toes, and the feet. These areas have a lot of sweat glands, which can cause odor. Feet, in particular, become breeding grounds for germs, especially if they're confined to shoes all day. From there, the odor spreads and contaminates clothing. 68-year-old Robert Green told me my feet used to reek. Now, after cleaning and drying my toes and putting on fresh socks, the smell has disappeared. Use cotton socks, change them every day, and carefully clean your feet in between your toes before putting them on. Rotate your shoes to let them dry out. For the back, which can be difficult to reach, use a cloth or brush with a long handle. Use warm, not hot water to wash these areas, and avoid soaps with strong scents. Choose gentle, fragrance-free options instead. 71-year-old Linda Johnson told me, "I doubted such simple things could reduce odor, but I tried it, and it worked like a charm. My grandson now enjoys watching TV while perched on my lap." It's also important to moisturize after showering, especially in the winter. Dry skin tends to peel and smell. A weekly 20-minute soak in a warm bath can also help remove deep-seated debris from pores. For best results, use lotion after thoroughly drying off. If you don't start now, you'll continue to frustrate those around you and, more importantly, lose your happiness and self-confidence. Start cleaning those 3 areas now, and within a week, you'll see a change in your family's responses. Next, we'll look more closely at dietary and lifestyle changes. Now, let's talk about what you eat. Patients often ask, "Dr. Vance, besides washing, what else can I do?" Well, food has a significant impact on body odor. Let's explore this further. 60-year-old Arthur Cook, a lifelong lover of spicy foods, asked me, "Could my diet affect my scent?" The reality is that while certain foods, like garlic and spices, might temporarily influence your breath or skin, their long-term effects can be surprisingly positive. The secret lies in their antioxidants, those powerful compounds that can actually counteract the unpleasant odors associated with aging. So, rather than being a source of odor, these foods can become allies in maintaining a fresher presence. The first step is to increase your intake of antioxidants. These microscopic warriors slow the oxidative processes that accelerate aging, which is a key contributor to those musty smells. Oxidation breaks down cells and tissues, releasing compounds that contribute to body odor. Antioxidants neutralize free radicals, reducing the internal decay that affects your scent. It's not a quick fix, but a gradual shift that pays off. Try incorporating a rainbow of antioxidant-rich foods into your meals. Think vibrant tomatoes, crisp apples, juicy strawberries, hearty buckwheat, and nutty brown rice. Red and purple produce, like grapes, blueberries, and eggplants, are especially potent thanks to anthocyanins. 79-year-old Betty Davis shared a heartwarming story. My doctor told me to eat a tomato and an apple every day. After a few months, my granddaughter hugged me and said, "Grandma, you don't smell bad anymore. Garlic, despite its initial pungency, also deserves a mention. Once digested, it transforms from foe to friend." Allicin, a sulfur-containing compound released when garlic is crushed or chewed, acts as both an antioxidant and an antibacterial agent, tackling odor-causing microbes from within. Eating 1 or 2 cloves daily can improve both your health and your scent profile. Next, let's discuss hydration. Foods with high water content, like juicy tomatoes, sweet pears, and refreshing watermelon, act like an internal flush, helping your body expel toxins through urine rather than through sweat. 68-year-old Susan Hill, a gardening enthusiast, told me, "I started eating half a cucumber and a tomato every day for my health. After a few months, friends remarked that I didn't have that old smell anymore." If you don't enjoy crunching on raw veggies, blend them into a smoothie with spinach, pear juice, and berries. Oral hygiene is also crucial. Brushing your teeth is a good start, but your tongue is a hidden breeding ground for bacteria. Invest in a tongue scraper and make it a daily ritual. 73-year-old John Wilson admitted, "I was hesitant about scraping my tongue at first, but now I can't skip it. My breath is so much fresher." To amplify the effect, chew sugar-free gum, especially one sweetened with xylitol, for 10 minutes after meals. It boosts saliva production, washing away odor-causing particles. Cutting back on alcohol and caffeine is also important. These beverages can dry out your system, intensifying odors. Alcohol is broken down into acetaldehyde, a compound with a sharp, unpleasant smell that escapes through sweat and breath. 71-year-old Thomas Brown, a former whiskey aficionado, said, "I used to drink a bottle a day. When I switched to herbal tea for a month, the smells faded." Coffee and tea drinkers can also ease up and swap in hydrating alternatives like water or herbal infusions. Fiber is also key. When digestion slows, toxins get reabsorbed into your bloodstream and exit through your pores as a sour stench. A fiber-rich diet keeps things moving. Load up on brown rice, whole grains, and fruits like apples and prunes. Starting the day with a bowl of oatmeal or brown rice porridge sets the tone for a healthy gut. 77-year-old Margaret Green shared, "I struggled with constipation my whole life. Once I began eating brown rice and soup for breakfast, not only did my digestion improve, but my body odor softened too." Finally, let's talk about your wardrobe and surroundings. Clean clothes are essential. Sweaty shirts, unwashed bedding, and stale socks can sabotage even the best hygiene routine. Perspiration and sebum soak into fabrics, creating a feast for bacteria. 72-year-old Robert Johnson admitted, "I used to wear the same clothes for several days before washing them. My doctor urged me to change daily, and it's kept the odors at bay. Opt for breathable cotton over synthetics, and wash your clothes frequently. Hang them in the sun, as UV rays disinfect. Bedding also needs attention. Wash it weekly, airing it in the sun when possible. Every few years, replace pillows and blankets, as they harbor dust mites and bacteria. Don't neglect your feet. Rotate your shoes, then sprinkle baking soda inside to absorb smells. Ventilate your living space. Open windows for 10 minutes each morning and evening, and place baking soda in damp areas to neutralize smells. In essence, the smell of old age stems from a mix of factors: oxidized sebum, reduced saliva, dietary imbalances, lack of hygiene, dehydration, neglected fabrics, and sluggish detoxification. Counter it with practical habits: sip warm water, stroll in sunlight, scrub key areas, feast on antioxidant-rich fruits and veggies, maintain diligent oral care, and frequently launder your clothes and bedding. These steps are simple, affordable, and require no fancy gadgets, just consistency. Beyond banishing odors, these changes elevate your vitality and confidence. They strengthen bonds with loved ones. 62-year-old Barbara White beamed, "After following my doctor's advice, my grandchild climbs onto my lap again, showering me with hugs and kisses." I hope these tips have opened your eyes to simple, effective ways to enhance your life and relationships. If this information has been valuable, consider subscribing to stay updated on future content.